I'm so thankful to be here with you and to be moving together today. Let's start with a neutral pelvis. So that's bringing the top of the pelvis forward over the bottom of the pelvis. And keep in mind that we want to keep coming here throughout class, as most of us, if not a lot, but subtly tend to sink back in the hips. If you notice that you really have to keep moving yourself back to a neutral pelvis over and over again, it might be a good idea to work with something under your hips, a pillow or a thick towel, to get your hips a little higher. When your hips are a little bit higher than your knees, it makes it easier to tilt your pelvis into neutral. So keep coming back, and if you want more information, watch the alignment lesson on the site under the community menu about neutral pelvis. But from here, let's extend our legs nice and long, heels down, toes up in the air, so flex your ankles. And let's just start by turning our palms out to our sides and moving our arms up and down by our sides. Think of your pelvis tilting upright, your front ribs relaxing down and back as you go into your arm motions. And start to tune into your breath. Let your breath flow. Soften your face, relax your jaw, becoming very present with your body. So this is a wonderful one to do more often throughout the day. It's doing a few different things. One of them is it's just getting your arms out of the position that we tend to spend most of our time in, which is in front of us. Think looking at our phones, being on computers, driving, eating. I mean, just about everything, our arms are in front of us. And then it also is just moving your arms around into different places, which is improving circulation, improving the musculoskeletal system and how it functions around your shoulders. And it goes even deeper than that. It's really good for your lungs and your heart to move your arms around in different ways. And I've said it before, but it's important to remember, if you drew a line straight from your hands to the center of your chest, where do you end up? You end up at your heart. So arm motion plays a big part in heart health. And it's not just arm motion, but varied arm motion, doing different arm motions throughout the day. And so that being said, let's switch this up a little. Next time your arms come low, but you're still holding them out a little bit, turn your palms face down and then turn your fingers down, your wrists turn down or flex, and flip your fingers up and your fingers turn up as your wrists extend. And then lift your arms a little bit higher and turn your fingers down and fingers up, and a little bit higher, fingers down and fingers up, and a little bit higher, fingers down and fingers up. And then slowly lower your hands down, and let's spin around into our first lunge. So bend your knees, spin around to your right, slide your left knee back so it falls right underneath your hip. Sometimes have the top of your foot down, sometimes have your toes tucked under. Of course, it's okay to work with shoes in this class. But more often, I'd say if you're not sure which one, work with your toes tucked under, because we often need more work at getting length through our lower leg and through the bottom of our foot. So work there, and then let your outside arm palm flip away from you, and let's go up and over into a side bend and come back up and over into a side bend and come back up. Let's do that 2 more times. Over and come back, and this time we'll stay in the side bend. Tip over, feeling from your fingers, through your wrist, through your elbow, through your shoulder, down through the sides of the rib cage, into the waist, into the hip. And then bring your arm back down and slide that leg forward and spin around to the other side. So slide your knee back. Again, sometimes you can work with toes tucked under, sometimes top of the foot where the shoelaces are if you're wearing a shoe. And then flip your outside hand, palm out to your side, and side bend up and over. Take your time. Move slowly, especially if this is the first time you've done a side bend in a while. And up and over, leaning not only from the arm, but the rib cage and the waist. and up and over, and hold this time. And then feel, lengthen through your fingers, your wrist, your elbow, your shoulder, your armpit, your ribs, your waist, down the side of your thigh. And once in a while, you'll hear me name off these parts, and I would definitely like you to focus on them, because it's the focus on the areas of your body that is really the first step to building health. You have to be aware of the parts of your body, and it's so helpful. Bring your arm down, slide your leg forward, spin back around to the front of the chair. And then from here, we'll go ahead and with our ankles right under your knees hip distance apart, here's where it becomes super important to keep your pelvis upright. And 1 foot at a time, you're going to try to lift your foot up off the floor and lower, and lift and lower. Now, it's very common when we first try to do this that we lift and our hips roll back. So you're trying to keep forward, so you're coming off of your tailbone as you lift and lower. The position of your pelvis is going to determine what muscles you're using. And so if you feel almost all the work at the very front of your hip crease, that's a good indication that you're still tucked under and you might not realize it. So keep rotating your pelvis up or get your hips higher. As your pelvis starts to really come into neutral, you'll start feeling not only some work in the front of the hips, but you'll feel a lot more work in your deeper core muscles. And so that's one of the reasons that we work on sitting with a neutral pelvis throughout the day more often, is so that we get more of our deeper core muscles and spinal support to participate. And so this is almost a good way to see if your pelvis is really in neutral, because as you lift 1 foot and lower, keeping your knees hip distance apart, are you just feeling it in the front of the hips? And if that's the case, again, you'll want to get your hips higher and try to tilt your pelvis even more forward as you lift and lower. And over time, it might take some time for those front hip muscles to relax a little bit, but you'll feel more in your core musculature as well. And let's do a couple more here, up and down. All right, and then from there, keep the pelvis upright, ribs flexed down. Reach your arms out by your sides. We'll start with our arms up, out in line with our shoulders, and we'll turn our fingers down again. This time with your fingers down, drop your chin down to your chest. Let the head hang. Feel the pull down the back of the neck into the shoulder blades. Keep the head dropping down. Flip the wrists so that the fingers point up in the air. And then without lifting your ribs, just slide your ears back over your shoulders like you're ramping your head, which is something we often practice. And then from there, bring your hands a little bit lower, turn your wrists down so your fingers point down, drop your chin down to your chest, soften the face, relax the jaw, flip the wrist in the other direction, and then slide your ears back over your shoulders without lifting your chin up into the air. Hands go a little bit lower, turn the wrist down, drop your chin down to your chest, breathing. Flip the wrist so your fingers go up, slide your ears back over your shoulders, and then one more. Hands a little lower, turn your wrist down, drop your chin down to your chest, breathing here, and then flip your wrist so your fingers go up and slide your ears back over your shoulders. And then from here, rotate your arm bones so your palms go up. And let's do a few different lifts here. A few more lifts. Breathing. Lengthening out through your upper arms so you gently pull on both your chest and your upper back at the same time. And next time your arms go up into a wide V shape, hold, and we'll sit our pelvis upright and lift our right foot straight up and our left foot straight up. Bring your arms a little bit lower. Right foot straight up, left foot straight up. And it might be very small at first to keep your pelvis upright. Bring your hands a little bit lower. Right foot straight up, left foot straight up. Good. Hands a little bit lower and right foot straight up and left foot straight up. And then from there, extend both of your legs long, reach your arms into the air, spread all your fingers nice and wide, spread all your toes any amount. You've just got to keep practicing, and over time, the toes, as you pay more attention to them, they'll start to do more for you. And then release your hands down, bend your knees, and let's spin around into another lunge. Let's go to our left first this time. So going over to your left, slide that knee back right underneath your hip. Just reach your outside arm straight up into the air without lifting your ribs up. So it might be slightly in front of your face. You want to lift without this happening. So the ribs drop down and back, the arm in the air. And then from here, keep your ribs dropping down as you hinge back and come back up. So if you lean back from your upper body, you're going to put more pressure on your lower back. So you want your ribs to stay down and hinge back and come up. Hinge back and come up, hinge back and come up, and then let that arms come down, slide the knee forward, spin around to the other side, slide your knee back right underneath your hip, reach your outside arm up into the air, only so high that the ribs stay relaxed down. And then from here, think of keeping your ribs down as you lean back a little bit and come forward. Lean back and forward. Lean back and forward, and lean back and forward. And then bring the arm down and slide that leg forward and spin back around to the front of the chair. Stretch your legs straight, heels down, toes up. A wonderful way to sit more often when you're sitting, even for a little while you're watching a show or reading a book. Bring your right hand in front of you, extend your wrists so your fingers point up to the ceiling, and then reach over with your left hand and pull back on your pinky finger. Now you're trying to keep each finger straight as you gently stretch it. So instead of the finger kind of bending and pulling it back, you're trying to keep each finger very straight. And then gently pull back on your ring finger. Notice your hand, does it tend to come into center? Can you keep it in line with your shoulder and your elbow? And then gently pull back on your middle finger. And for an added challenge, you're keeping your stretching finger straight, but you can also work on keeping all of your fingers straight as you stretch each individual finger. And then pull your pointer finger back gently. And then pull your thumb down and back. And while you're here with gently pulling your thumb down and back, focus on your right ankle and point and flex. Point and flex, point and flex, point and flex. Release your right hand, reach your left arm out in front of you. Start with your ankles flexed, toes in the air, extend your wrist, and then pull back on the pinky finger. All the fingers lengthening, especially the one you're stretching, and over to the ring finger. And if the finger really wants to bend, you can hold on to it gently in multiple places, like one finger on the front and one finger on the back to keep it a little bit straighter. And over to your middle finger. But do remember that these are very small muscles, so you want to be gentle with them. We want to be gentle with all of our motions, but especially when we're working with small muscles. All right, and then pulling back on your pointer finger. And notice where your hand is. Is it up in line with your shoulder? Can you start working with your hand a little bit lower in line with your chest? Give those shoulders a break from that stress hug up to the ears. And then pull your thumb gently down and back. And we're going to hold the thumb stretch a little longer. Focus on our left ankle. Point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex. Point and flex, and then release your thumb. One more time, reach your arms out. Gently spread your hands wide, especially your thumbs away from your middle fingers. Gently try to spread your toes any amount open. Again, don't worry how far they spread at first, just spread them to the best of your ability. And then let your hands come down, let your knees bend, and then from here, we're going to tuck the right foot back under the chair, the top of the foot where the shoelaces go. You're trying to get past your toes if possible, just a little bit to the top of the foot. And then we're going to extend our left leg long, heel down, toes up, and do a little bit of a forward fold here with our right toes tucked under. And just tilting from the pelvis. And then come on up and switch. Bring that right foot forward, tuck the top of the left foot under the chair, in line with your knee, that's in line with your hip, and then extend your right leg, heel down, toes up, and rotate from the pelvis to come forward just a little bit. Try to relax the muscles in your feet, around your thighs, breathing. And then come on up and bend that knee. So now with your pelvis upright, one of two choices. One is you take your right ankle and put it over your left knee, but resist the urge to walk your foot in. So you want to try to keep your foot right under your knee, where that's in line with your hip. And if this is not happening, or it's uncomfortable, or you really feel like your pelvis is back and you can't rotate it upright, then use something, any prop that would work, anything that lifts your foot up off the floor, a sturdy box, a sturdy container, an upside down bathroom garbage can, and you can still get the benefits, but just without lifting your legs so high, so that you can rotate your pelvis upright. And today I'm going to stay at this height, but you're welcome to have your ankle over your knee. Now let your right hand come forward, bend your elbow, turn your wrist down. I call this like a dinosaur arm. And then gently pull your pinky finger down toward your forearm. Keep turning the wrist down, gentle, small muscles. And pull the middle finger down, or the ring finger down and back towards your forearm. Let that right thigh relax open. Pull your middle finger, missing those twos up. And how many times have I done this over the last decade? And I still mess up the fingers sometimes. And then the pointer finger pulls back and down. A lot of times people notice this is the tightest one on this side of the hand. And then the thumb pulls back and down. All right, release. Rotate your pelvis and come into any amount of a forward fold here. Breathing. And then come on up. And let's switch sides. So start with right ankle under the knee, and then keep that right foot where it is, and either cross left ankle over the knee, tilting your pelvis upright, or use your block at any placement. And thigh dropping open, sitting upright. Reach that left arm up, elbow bent, wrist turns down. Pull your pinky finger towards the back of your forearm. It's amazing how all the parts of the body work together. Go over to your ring finger. I mean, for so many years, I worked out and did exercises, but I didn't get into all these little places, like in quite the same way that we focus on now. And what a difference it makes. Pull your middle finger down and back. And the longer you do it, the more you'll see how everything in the body works together. How the tension in the hands absolutely plays a huge part into tension in the shoulders. The tension in the feet absolutely plays a huge part to tension in the hips. And pulling your pinky finger or middle finger down, or pointer finger down and back. Distract it today when it comes to fingers. And your thumb gently down and back. Let that left thigh drop open. Are you holding tension in the thigh? Can you let it drop open a little more and tilt your pelvis upright a little bit more? And then release and take your foot off that block if you're using it and slide the block out of the way. And let's spin around to a lunge, turning over to the right. So for this one, it's common the first couple times you do it, the first few times you do it, or if you haven't done it in a while, that the back of your leg could cramp a little bit. So if that happens, and do this with me, just slide the leg forward and extend, and you can rub out if it cramps a little bit, so you're lengthening the muscle on the back of the leg. But otherwise, slide the knee back so it's right under the hip with your toes tucked under, and very slowly try to lift and lower without your thigh bone popping forward. So keep the thigh bone back as you lift and lower. And you might start out really, really low, like just barely get your toes up off the floor, and then over time, just try to bring it a little bit higher. And breathing at your own pace, a few more of those. All right, and then slide that leg forward, spin around to the other side. And let's just do that stretch just as a reminder. If the leg cramps up, it'll extend the leg long, but it feels nice to do it before we contract the back of that leg muscle too. So you can rub it out a little bit, flex your ankle, Hinge forward from the pelvis just to get length in the back of the leg. Then slide that foot back. Try to keep the knee right under the hip and start with little slow lifts. And breathing. And then over time, maybe lift a little bit higher. And maybe you just start out with 2 or 3 of these, especially if your leg is cramping, and just know we'll come back and we'll be doing it again sometime in another class. And let's do a couple more. All right, slide that leg forward. Spin back around to the front of the chair. Start with your feet hip distance apart. We're going to slowly walk our feet wider, but the whole time we want to only go as far as we can keep the outer edges of our feet straight. Sitting up tall here, ribs relax down. Slowly drop your right ear to your right shoulder. When you drop your ear to your shoulder, it's common that the head will go forward or back. You could even draw a line, like an imaginary line from your ear to your shoulder and really feel like it's lined up. And then bring your head up nice and slowly go over to your left shoulder. And find that imaginary line if you need to at first. And then bring your head up and take your right arm up and over into a side bend. And take your left arm up and over into a side bend. Turn the palm so it faces the direction you're bending. And come down. Walk your feet. Toes turn out, heels turn out. A little bit wider, inner thighs open. Right ear to right shoulder. And left ear to left shoulder. And since we're just staying for a moment, as soon as you drop in, you have to relax things a little bit. Bring your head up. Right arm goes up and over side bend. And left arm goes up and over side bend. And then bring that arm down, walk your feet, toes turn out, heels turn out, inner thighs open, right ear to right shoulder, pelvis upright, ribs relax down, left ear to left shoulder. Bring your head up, right arm up and over side bend, left arm up and over side bend. And then from there, walk your feet wider, toes out, heels out, pelvis upright. Drop your right ear to your right shoulder. Bring your head up, left ear to left shoulder. And then bring your head up, right arm goes up and over side bend. And left arm up and over side bend. And I was just reading a research article that talked about how side bending is a great place to start if you haven't been moving the body much. So great thing to do throughout the day. If you're trying to encourage someone in your life to move more often, which is always good for you because then you have to move more often, then you can start with gently doing side bends together. All right, pelvis upright, turn your belly button to the right. Turn your belly button to the left. And I say specifically the belly button because you're focusing on moving the waist. Sometimes it's really easy for us to turn from the shoulders and the head, but the actual waist doesn't move at all. So try to really feel, no matter how small, that you're actually turning around your waist. And it might feel like you're not moving at all at first, but I promise if you keep doing it over time, you'll get more and more motion around your waist, which means you'll build a stronger core over time. All right, next time we go to the right. Take your time getting there. You're turning, you're holding, your hands are a little lower than your shoulders. Turn your palms down, curl your hands into soft fish, keep turning the belly button to the right, and circle your wrist here nice and slowly. Notice if when you're in the upright position, like your pelvis is upright, your ribs are down, if your head always comes forward a little, slide your ears back over your shoulders. Pause, circle your wrist in the other direction. Try to draw full circles. Good, and then you can hold your hand in those soft fists, turn your belly button to the left and hold the twist to the left. And once again, circle your wrist. And pause and circle in the other direction and try to really feel like you're drawing a full circle. It's so tempting to always go fast, but a lot of times we bypass really feeling the muscle work when we go too fast, so try to go a little bit slower. And then flip your palms up as you come back to center. Great time to give your arms a rest if it needs one. Nice and slowly reach your right arm across like you're trying to reach it over to your left arm. Notice how my arms are lower. They're not up by my shoulders. We're getting more into the lower upper back. Open the right arm out. Reach the left arm across in front. And open up. Right arm across in front. And open. Left arm across in front. And open. Right arm across in front and open. Left arm across in front and open. Right arm across in front. Hold on above the elbow so you're tractioning your shoulder. If you pull below the elbow, you're tractioning your elbow. So pull above the elbow out. You're gently tractioning your shoulder. Maybe with your feet straight, your feet can walk a little wider or your thighs can open a little bit more. Breathing, and I can in particular really feel the stretch on one side of my thigh. I know I still carry tension in this one inner thigh. So. All right, let's switch arms. Left arm comes in front, from the upper arm, pull out and across. You're gently pulling your arm, not only across, but slightly out at an outward angle in front of you. Feeling the muscles between the shoulder blades and the spine. And breathing. Open the palm of the hand flat towards the ceiling. This is one area of the body that a lot of tension hides for some people. What I mean by that is some people can feel, they're just like, oh, I know my upper back is tight. But for a lot of people, it doesn't feel like it's that tight, but over time, as you break down the tension layers, you'll feel more and more layers of tension leave this area. So keep working on it. All right, from there, release that arm. Your feet are wide, your knees are wide, your inner thighs are opening. Let's keep our pelvis and our torso straight forward and turn our neck to the right, chin parallel with the floor, and slowly turn your neck to the left. Bring your head back to center. Turn your belly button to the right. Turn your belly button to the left. Come back to center. Walk your feet in, heels in, toes in, a little bit closer together. Turn your head to the right. Turn your neck muscles to the left without forcing, without turning your torso. Bring your head to center. Now turn your belly button to the right. Turn your belly button to the left. And a little tip that you can use that I learned a long time ago, unwind, is that walk your feet in one step closer, is that when you're turning your belly button, can you keep your chin in line with your chest? But let's turn our head first. So turn your head to the right and turn your head to the left. And now try to keep your chin centered so you're just turning your belly button. And turn your belly button to the left. And notice how it's tempting to always want to turn from the head to feel like we're turning the waist further. Unwind, walk your feet into hip distance apart. Turn your head to the right. Turn your neck to the left. Bring your head back to center. Turn your belly button to the right. Feel the waist twist. Turn your belly button to the left. Feel the waist twist. And unwind. All right, ankles under the knees. It's tempting to scoot them back, or you might feel like you have to scoot them back to get out of the chair. If that's what you find, which is how I found myself at first, then just be aware that you're doing that and try to scoot your feet at least a little bit forward. Second piece to watch is the inner thighs. Do they cave in? Do they cave out? Most commonly they cave in. Keep them open, especially right when you're getting out of the chair and right before you tap down. Lean forward as soon as your hips come off the chair. Push your hips back and press down to come up. And then just make sure that you're close enough that you feel confident you're to the chair, and we're gonna sit our hips back and we're gonna try not to fall. So a lot of times people sit back into a chair and then they fall. They don't use their muscle to sit down. So I want you to sit back and go slow all the way down. And if you lose your alignment, meaning if your knees go way forward or your thighs collapse in or out, that's another sign to get your chair seat higher, to adapt your muscles slowly, and then over time you can take the layers out. So again, scoot your ankles forward. Inner thighs, watch them, lean forward. You're trying to come up with less momentum. So for most of us, we get out of a chair and we throw ourselves forward, or we push down into the arms of the chair. No hands if possible. Lean forward, push your hips back to come up nice and slowly. And let's do that 2 more times. Sit your hips back and go nice and slow back down to the chair. And this just progressively gets better and better over time the more you practice. So you have to keep at it. Hinging forward. Watch those feet if they slide back. Try to bring them forward a little bit. Inner thighs open. As soon as you get up, your knees might come forward a little, but then slide your hips back to use the back of your legs to lift you up. And then sit your hips back. Watch the thighs collapsing in, especially when you get to that point where you might fall. That's when the thighs are most likely to come in or pull out. And let's come up to stand for our last time. So lean forward, lift your hips up, push your hips back, press into your feet to come up, and come around to the back of your chair. And if you're newer to the classes, then you can have the back of the chair facing, like you can just face me, and I turn my chair sideways so you can see everything that I'm doing. All right, from here, put your hands on the back of the chair. If you're tall and the back of the chair is low, then you might want something higher, a counter space, a fireplace. Push your hips back. 2 straight arms, 2 straight legs. Look down, check that the outer edges of your feet are really straight. Like if you line them up with a ruler, your pinky toe and your heel would both touch. Push your hips back. Relax your lower belly as much as you can so that your tailbone can tilt in the air as opposed to being tucked under. Belly relaxes so tailbone goes up. That lengthens the back of the legs, which is something that we all need a little bit of more of after the time we spend sitting in a chair. Take 1 more breath here. And then push through the backs of the legs to come up and walk on up. And then you're going to use whatever you'd like for a calf stretch. I have a dome today, but I mix it up. Sometimes I use a thin block. Sometimes I use a rolled up towel. If you have different things, use different things. Put the ball of your right foot up with your heel down on the floor, outer edges of feet straight. Maybe you step that outside foot forward a little bit. And then with your arms hanging by your side, let's just rotate your arm bones here. So a little tighter than I thought. But let's just rotate your arm bones here. Good. Rotate all the way one way, all the way the other. The rotation is happening from the very top of the arm bone. So the elbows and wrists are just going along for the ride. Make sure you're not just turning from the lower arm bone and you're actually rotating from the upper arm bone. And neutral is when our elbow pits point forward and our ribs are relaxed down. And so for a lot of people, when the ribs relax down, the elbow pits slightly roll in due to tensions around the shoulder girdle. So one thing that's so small, but can make such a big difference over time, is just turning your elbow pits forward. Your thumbs naturally align forward, but if at first it's hard to get that rotation, it's easier to just turn your palms all the way forward. Let's switch feet for the calf stretch. So slide it over. Put the ball of your left foot up, your heel down on the floor. You can work putting the ball of your foot up a little higher over time. Keep your heel down and see how much you can step your outside foot forward with a smooth transition without the heel lifting up, without any clenching any of your muscles. And then rotate those elbow pits to face forward with either thumbs or palms forward, and we'll pull back, relax forward. So our natural arm swing is a backwards arm swing. Meaning when we're walking, in particular on flat surfaces, which we have a lot of in modern times, your arms naturally swing backwards, which is why when we see power walkers and they're lifting their arms in front of them, they're reversing the natural arm swing that we do, which is really backwards. That balances out your spinal musculature, your hip musculature when you are walking. And so a more natural arm swing is not 2 arms, but 1 arm at a time. So pull 1 arm back and then the other arm, but think of not lifting your arms in front of you at all. You're just pulling back and letting them relax forward. And it's very challenging at first. If the shoulders are tight, the arm might automatically start lifting in front of you. Try not to let it. You're lifting it behind you and letting it just relax and swing forward. And you can go really slow at first if that's helpful. Notice as you're swinging, do your hands come in? That's showing also something going on in the shoulders, so try to keep the arms in a straight line as you swing it back and let it relax forward. All right, from there, let's relax our arms, come off that calf stretch, move whatever you were using out of the way with your feet straight, ankles hip distance apart. We're gonna start here, the weight back in your heels, so we tend to push our hips forward. You wanna back your hips up so much that when you lift your toes, you don't feel like you rock back at all. And then from there, push down through your right hip. If it tends to pop out, hug it in as you tap your left toes behind you. Now you have options. Option one is to every time just bring your foot back. If you're first starting out and trying to build your balance slowly, that's what you want to work on. Option two is to push down through that right hip, hug it in, tap your toes back, and then let your ankle flex and hang and float in the air. And see how I tap my toes down because I needed the support? You can always do that. So tap back, ankle flexes and hangs, and you're pushing down through this leg. And tap back and come forward. Tap back and forward. All right, tap back, hold, back the weight up into the heel of the standing leg. Now how about here? It's like a little bit of a balance, but with a kickstand, taking your right arm up and over into a side bend, and then taking your left arm up and over into a side bend. And then bring that arm down, bring that foot forward, outer edges of feet straight. Push down through the left hip as the right foot comes up, tap. Check that the left hip's not popping out from the side. If it is, you're doing a combination of pushing down and hugging in, whereas if your hip doesn't pop out, you're mostly just feeling the whole side of your body press down, and then foot comes forward and ankle flexes, or you can tap down your foot every time. Tap back, leg hangs. Tap back, leg hangs. Tap back, leg hangs, tap back, hold, and then from there, back your weight up into the heel of the front leg, circle your left arm up and over for a side bend, and circle your right arm up and over for a side bend, and then bring that arm down, bring that foot forward. Outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance, push down through the right hip. Eventually, you'll gain enough strength in this outer hip, outer buttocks muscles that when you push down through the right side, you will not have to hike your left hip up, which is using your spinal muscles, or bend your knee. It's like both legs will be reaching straight down to the floor, but you'll just gain enough strength that you can push down through that outer hip a little more. It will happen over time. Be patient with it. Little swing backs, micro swing backs of your left leg. The smaller the better, because if you swing too far back, you start to use your lower back muscles, and we're trying to isolate and just open the front of the hip and use the buttocks muscles. So it's a very small swing. And then next time, tuck the top of your foot under, or the top of your shoe under behind you. And if your foot cramps, just come out. You can stick a cushion or a pillow under there. Check where your weight is in your standing leg. Back your hip up. And do not feel discouraged. So number one, on most people's bodies, they've shown now, even as young as kids in elementary school and teenagers are already losing strength in their outer hips. So if you're just like, when I first learned this and I pushed down through my hip, my foot didn't do anything. I was like, okay, I don't understand what you're talking about, because I was using so little of this musculature throughout my day, not only all day movement, but while I was exercising. But as you can see now, as soon as I start to activate, I can already feel my leg wants to lift up. It will happen for you in time. Push down through the left hip, hug it in, and then with the ankle flex, micro swing backs. And of course, you can have your hands on a chair here. That's a great way to start. Breathing. But if you have been working with your hands on a chair and it's coming up to like 2 years, time to start loosening the grip a little bit or holding on a little bit less. And that might mean you're gonna fall a little bit more at first, but that's okay. You're not that far from the ground, just like walking. All right, small swings, tuck the top of the foot behind you. And that's the long path. I would say after about a year of really, you want to use the chair at first because it's hard to back your weight up into your heel. That's the hardest part for most people, is to not balance using the front of the leg or the hip going out to the side. So you want to use that support to hold yourself where you want to be, but then after a year, start letting go or loosening your grip more often. All right, bring the top of that foot back. Go ahead and face the back of your chair with outer edges of feet straight, ankles hip distance. Sit back into a chair pose, watching first that the knees don't go forward, back your hips up, press into your feet to come up. Now this takes a long time. For people, because of our daily modern habits, for a lot of people, the knees still go forward even after a long time of practicing. So you really want to slide back and press up to get your work out of the front of the body so much and into the back of the body. The next thing to pay attention to are your inner thighs collapsing in. So once you get your knees back, is this happening at some point? Keep your inner thighs open, hip distance apart. And let's do 2 more like that. And that's just the lower body. Then it comes to paying attention to the upper body once you've done those couple of things. Okay, from here, turn your palms to face behind you, weight back in the heels. Slowly lift your arms up without lifting your ribs up. Ribs stay relaxed down, arms swing back down. Turn your palms to face your body. Inhale, arms rise without lifting the ribs. Lower the hands down. Rotate the palms to face forward. Arms rise. Lower down. Turn the palms to face back behind you. Sit back into your chair pose. Arms rise. Lower down. Turn your palms to face your body. Arms rise. Lower down. Turn your palms to face forward. Arms rise. Lower down. You're sitting back into your chair pose. Step your right leg back into a lunge. Push off the ball of the back foot to step up. Sit your hips back. Step your left foot back into a lunge. So 2 things. You're focusing on landing in the heel of the front foot, but lifting off the back foot. We often forget about the back leg. Use the back leg to push off, to push down, to step up. Sit back into a chair pose. Let's do 1 more each side. Step the right leg back into a lunge, lengthen long. Can you be on the center of your ball of your foot, or does your foot always twist to one side? Press off, sit back into a chair pose. Step your left leg back, breathing, and press off. Then walk back, 2 straight arms, 2 straight legs. Be conscious as you relax your belly. Your spine drops down, but does your head always drop down? If that's the case for you, you have to learn to keep your spine relaxing, but lift the back of your head towards the ceiling. You're still looking straight at the floor. And then from here, slowly turn and look over your right shoulder. Slowly turn and look over your left shoulder. Bring your head back to center without dropping your head down. Reach your right hand to the floor and twist down, maybe even touching the floor, and bring your hand up. And then reach your left hand down and twist down to the floor, not forcing anything. And then bring your hand up and push your hips straight back again. Sorry for the interference with the mic. All right, from here, walk back up to the chair, sit back into a chair pose, step your right leg back into a lunge. You're high on the ball of your back foot. Now, without your left knee going forward or back, can you roll off your back foot and bend your back knee a little and straighten? Bend and straighten. Bend and straighten. A little goes a long way. Bend and straighten. Now, how about keeping your back leg straight and purposely and carefully letting your front knee go past your ankle and bring it back over your ankle. Knee goes forward and back. And maybe you can even feel how when you go forward, there's a little bit more pressure on the knee. And back and forward and back. Now keep your hip back, push off the back foot to step up, sit back into a chair pose, step your left leg back. From there, bend your back knee by rolling off your back foot and extend the leg. Roll off the back foot and extend. Roll and extend. Roll and extend. Now hold there and keep your back leg straight. Bend past your ankle nice and slowly, right through the center of your foot, and back up. Bend your knee forward and back up. 2 more like that. Bend your knee forward and back up. Bend your knee forward and back up. Push into the heel of the front foot, the ball of the back foot to come on up. And then from here, step your feet nice and wide. And you can still be right behind your chair. Weight back in the heels. Turn your right toes out 90 degrees, outer edge of the foot straight. Open your arms, palms up and a little lower. So we always practice our warrior poses, one with palms up, because we spend so much time in internal rotation in modern culture. Excessive internal rotation is one of the reasons for shoulder rotator cuff issues, impingement issues. Rotating from the arm bones up, and then work with your hands a little lower. We tend to work a lot with our arms higher, which overuses those upper shoulder muscles next to the neck. If you start bringing your hands lower, you invite more of the muscles around the bottom of your shoulder, your armpit, your lower chest muscles to work. Bend into your right knee slowly, but try not to go past your knee at all. So try to land right over the knee and straighten. It might be a really small bend unless you want to step your feet a little wider. Bend and straighten nice and slowly. Bend, steer right over the center of the foot and straighten and bend and straighten. Okay, turn those toes in. Turn your left foot out, outer edge of the foot straight, right toes pointing forward. Palms up, hands lower down a little. Bend and straighten all the way. Bend, and when you straighten, watch if your leg has a habit of kind of locking out straightening. If that's you, when you bend, you want to straighten all the way, but you want to try to go slow so that you're not snapping the leg straight, but just lengthening it. And bend, and straighten, and bend, and straighten. Turn your left toes in, turn your right toes out. Tip your torso over, bringing your right hand toward your leg without bending either leg. And then tip your torso up and lift your right arm up into the air. Bend over. And switch the opposite way you're bending. And right arm goes down. Weight back in the heels. And right arm goes up. One more like that. 2 straight legs. Right arm or left arm goes up. Right arm. Good. And come back. Turn your right toes in. Turn your left toes out. From here, 2 straight legs. And we'll let our left arm come down. And our left arm goes up. And down. And up. Breathing. 2 more like that. And down. Ground from the buttocks into the heels. And up. And down. And up. All right, from there, bring your arms back out, turn your toes in, turn your right toes out. Now you're bending into the right knee and you're holding. You have to be careful though that the knee doesn't start dropping in or out. So steady, hand comes down to the knee, top arm goes over, and then lift up and reach that right arm into the air. Right hand comes down to the knee, left arm goes over. Come back up, right arm into the air, right knee stays bent. Right hand down, left arm over. And right hand goes up into the air. Last one. Right hand down, left arm over. And right arm into the air. And press into the leg to straighten. Turn the right toes in, turn the left toes out. Bend into the left knee, steering it over the center of the knee, or over the center of the ankle, and every time you bring your hand down, you can check the knee. So hand comes down, right arm reaches over, you're creating one long line, and then arm goes up into the air. Try to feel that your knee is staying centered. And left hand down as you reach over, and switching sides. And right arm over. And left arm up. Your breath is flowing. Last one. Right arm over. Man, I'm not having good luck with that little mic cover today. And top arm up. And bring your hand down. Turn your toes in, straighten your legs. Turn around and face the chair. And then from the chair, place your hands on the chair. Walk back, 2 straight arms, 2 straight legs. Push your hips back. Walk your feet back up to the chair. From here, you're going to stand up and you can lightly have your hands on the chair and you're pushing into the balls of the feet to lift your heels up off the floor and lowering down. Now you're watching specifically for 2 things. The first one is the ankles have a strong habit to twist one way or the other. So you're trying not to let your ankles twist. You're going straight up and down. And the more that you press equally, and especially through that very inside part of the big toe, the ball of the big toe, the more usually the ankles will go straight up and straight down. So that's number 1. And maybe you just focus on that for a while because it's a very strong pattern habit for a lot of people that when their heels lift up, their ankles turn and their heels kind of spin in. So you're trying to keep your ankles more going straight up and straight down. And then the second thing as you do them is you're trying not to pitch yourself forward. So pitching yourself forward would be like going forward towards the chair. Instead, you're trying to get yourself to go more straight up towards the ceiling. And press equally through the balls of the feet. And I can even feel my big toes, ball of the foot coming up a little bit. So you gotta focus on those parts of the body. Okay, and then once your heels come down, grab whatever you use for a double calf stretch. So I'm going to use a rolled up towel, 2 thin blocks next to each other. You could just use one dome and put your feet at the very ends of it. Outer edges of feet straight, balls of the feet up, heels down, push your hips back. Relax your belly so your tailbone can go up into the air. Breathing. Okay, let's put a few of our balance, or not our balance, a few of the movement skills we've been working on together. So come on up, slide that out of the way. Come up into a heel raise, your calf raises. Stay, try to not roll to one side of your foot or the other. Press equally, especially into that big toe. And sit back into a chair pose. And press back up. So staying off of your heels the whole time. Sit back and press up. Let's do 2 more like that. Sit back, lift up off the heels and press up. And sit back and press up. Okay, walk back. 2 straight legs. Push your hips back. It's okay if your elbows are bent. Try to push your buttocks behind your ankles and do heel raises here. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. Lift and lower. All right, walk up. Now you're going to come up off the front of your feet. So kind of like we're doing a double calf stretch. Your heels are down and the balls of your feet are up. Sit back into a chair pose and press up. Heels down, balls of the feet up. Sit back, watch the thighs caving in or out. Press up. Sit back. Press up. Sit back. Press up. And just notice if you noticed any difference between how it felt to not use a certain part of your foot. And now walk back, 2 straight legs. It's okay if the elbows bend, but push the hips back. And now you're just going to lift the front of the feet up, thighs drop back a little more, and let the front of the foot come down. Lift the front of the foot up, front of the foot comes down. Lift up, hips push back, and they come down. Last one, lift up, hips push back, and then they come down. And from there, go ahead and Push your hips back nice and slowly. One more thoracic stretch. Press through the backs of the legs to come up. You're going to come over to the wall for just a moment, or your wall space. And from here, if you can do this later if you don't have a wall in front of you, place your hands on the wall about chest height. So it's going to be probably a little higher than your chair. Walk back, 2 straight arms, 2 straight legs. Push your hips back. Great time to practice rotating your thigh bones into neutral, relaxing your kneecaps, which both of those lessons are now up in the alignment lessons, relaxing the kneecaps and rotating the thigh bones into neutral. You want to be able to relax your kneecaps first, or at least get pretty good at it. You can still practice rotating your thigh bones sometimes. Come up, but don't move your hands. Walk up so your feet are right under your hips. Keep your right hand on the wall. And then from there, just turn open any amount away from the wall, keeping your right hand on the wall and breathing, never forcing. And then turn back and face the wall. Hands shoulder height, shoulder distance apart. Keep your left hand on the wall. Take your right hand. Don't let your left hand move, and twist your body around, keeping your arms straight any amount. Feel your legs supporting you, ribs relax down. And unwind and release your hand, and then let's go ahead and have a seat in the chair. So I try to do wall stuff at the end of classes, so that way if you're not filming in a place that has a clear wall space, you can try it later, but don't skip it. It's so important. The wall is one of our greatest tools for getting into our chest muscles, so we really just don't want to skip it. Okay. Outer edges of feet straight, tilting your pelvis upright, ribs relax down. Bring your hands low, down by your sides. And now we're just going to flip our wrist down, so our fingers point down to the floor. We're turning our wrist in, and I like to call this the Karate Kid move. Slowly keep your wrist down and lift your arms up into the air. And we're not going too much higher than the shoulders, because when your arms are in internal rotation or neutral and not external rotation, you go higher, you pinch that joint a little more. So that's why when your arms go up, you want to rotate. It's a little bit smoother, but we're going a little higher than our shoulders, our wrists down, arms up. And then change the flip of your wrist and slowly go back down, keeping the wrists flipped in this direction the whole time. All right, let's do that one more time. Flip the wrist in the other direction. Slowly go up. Take your time, because especially if you go to a certain height and you're like, ooh, I can feel that in both forearms or one forearm, you kind of want to stay there and pause for a moment. And then keep on going nice and slowly. And then turn your wrists, fingers go up, and slowly go back down. Reach out through the upper arms. All right, we're going to do rib breathing. Rib breathing is when you focus on breathing into the sides and the back of your rib cage. Now, if you have a strap, it's a great tool because it's a feedback tool, and you can wrap it around and tie it around your lower rib cage, and you're trying to try it pretty snug, right below your chest or breast tissue. Tie it pretty snug. As snug as you can, because it'll loosen up as you start breathing into it. And if you have something that's a little bit of an elastic, that works great too, because it'll give you even more movement, more space to move with, more resistance to move with. But when you're inhaling into the sides and the back of the strap. And when you exhale, you're trying to hug in away from the strap. So important, perhaps one of the most important movements we do. And I think last week, so let me go ahead and change your legs up. So walk your feet nice and wide here, with your feet nice and wide. And then we'll take our right arm up and over, and you'll take a rib breath here into the right side of the rib cage. And I am fascinated by rib breathing. It's so important, one of the most important movements of the body, because if we're not bringing this motion really determines how much oxygen we're bringing in a healthy way. And bringing oxygen in a healthy way into your body is everything for your body. And then switch sides and take a rib breath or two here. But I was recently told that if I have you sit and just rib breathe for too long, that it could be quite boring for some people, which I completely understand. So I'm adding a little bit more movement into it. But please just know when I'm talking to you about rib breathing and encouraging you to keep rib breathing, keep doing it for your health, for your well-being. All right, and bring that arm down. Walk your legs in to hip distance apart. You can use that same block or not. Cross your right ankle over, sit up nice and tall, interlace right pinky finger on the bottom, press away, spread your thumbs away from each other. Inhale here. Exhale. Strap becomes looser. Good, release your fingers, release your ankle, either on a block in front of you or crossed over your knee, sitting up tall, left pinky finger on the bottom, press away, spread your thumbs away from each other. Check where your hands are. Are they up here? That's a hard habit to break. Start working with your hands lower. Inhale here. Exhale out of the nose, hugging the ribs in. And then release your fingers. Uncross your leg. All right, let's go around to a lunge. Spin around to one side, slide your leg back, twist your belly button to the back of your chair. Inhale into the sides of your ribs here, the back of your ribs here. Exhale all the way. Unwind your twist, spin around to a lunge on the other side, slide the knee back. And wind up your twist and take a full rib breath here. And unwind the body and slide the leg forward, spin around, stretch your legs straight, heels down, toes up, fold forward from a little bit to a lot. Relax the back of your neck and take a couple more rib breaths here. And I likely would have felt the same way. I think about too when I was more of just a student rather than coaching movement classes. And I was always looking for what was next and what to do next and excited for the next move. I will say though, but I think that a lot of you feel the same way and see things the same way as I do if you've been taking these classes for a while, that now I'm just so fascinated by how these small changes can make such an amazing impact in the body. Come on up. And from there, sit all the way back in your chair. That sometimes I forget to keep us moving in more ways. Or more ways than one at a time. Let your gaze soften or your eyes gently close. Become very present with your body. Become very present with your breath. Stay present with your body, with your breath. We waste so much energy trying to cover up who we are when beneath every attitude, is the want to be loved. And beneath every anger is a wound to be healed. And beneath every sadness is the fear that there will not be enough time. When we hesitate in being direct, we unknowingly slip something on, some added layer of protection that keeps us from feeling the world. And often that thin covering is the beginning of a loneliness, which, if not put down, diminishes our chances of joy. It's like wearing gloves every time we touch something, and then forgetting we chose to put them on. We complain that nothing feels quite real. Our challenge each day is not to get dressed to face the world, but to unglove ourselves so that the doorknob feels cold and the car handle feels wet and the kiss goodbye feels like the lips of another being, soft and unrepeatable. Bringing your hands together at heart center. Thank you for being here with me and doing our best together to unglove ourselves, to feel more. In gratitude for this day, namaste. Now be conscious, if you're getting up out of the chair, how you're doing it. Scoot to the edge, feet forward, watch the thighs collapsing in, come up with less momentum.